said, welcome. We would love for you to come with us to Israel. Um, we wanted to first talk about what we planned on doing while we're in Israel. We've got several locations: Tel Aviv, Galilee, Jerusalem, and Eilat. Our day plan works out. We're going to get there, we're going to go to the beach, we're going to hang out. It's 16 hours on a plane. We're going to go to the beach, we're going to relax, we're going to get the plane off. We're going to start tours the next day. We're going to go see some amazing ruins. We're going to see, basically these first 3 days are a lot of ruins. We gotta have an R&R. So the Dead Sea is an amazing place to swim, and if you imagine being in water but floating on the top, it's extremely cool. We're going to do that after it's a moderate hike, but it goes to an insanely cool ruin in Masada. We'll talk about that a little bit later. The rest of these places are all historic or religious sites all throughout Israel. Like I said, we have the timelines of when we're going to be there. These purple things, these are when we break for food or when we sleep. Wanted to talk a little bit about some of the details about the major cities that we're going to be visiting. I've included some other cities that are not on our tour, but for the most part, Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, Eilat, Galilee. Right here is all of our populations. You're going to see Jerusalem is a ton of people. It rivals any city in the U.S. versus Eilat, which is the hometown that I grew up isn't as big as Eilat. Here's kind of the weather that we're looking at. Most of the time, we're desert. The Mediterranean, what they're calling that, it's mostly desert with a little bit of moisture, not so much. These are the elevation charts that I could find, and then you can see there's a big variance of rainfall. That's from almost nothing, that's per year, up to 815 millimeters. That's a pretty significant amount of rainfall for the desert.
This is Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv is a beautiful city in Jerusalem. They have, as you can see, I believe, this is the hotel that we're going to be staying at. While we're in Tel Aviv, we'll go back and forth. Chose this one just because of the really awesome architecture. There's a pool, and those who wants to get full of sand can go to the beach. Israel has some of the most beautiful beaches in the world. And Tel Aviv has, nope.
Left one time.
Left. Operator. Beautiful beaches, like I said, and the nightlife. Some of the best, quote-unquote, discos or nightclubs are in Tel Aviv, and we figured if you're going to go all the way to the Middle East, and so many people get really concerned, oh my God, I'm going to the Middle East, and there's going to be all this violence and stuff. In Tel Aviv, it's always a party. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. The nightlife alone, there's no hours. So, if you are an adult and can consume beverages, you're good.
And this is Caesarea. This is right outside of Haifa. This is a Roman amphitheater. It's really neat. It's cool. It's interesting because you can hear things. The acoustics are just incredible. King Herod, I think it was the 22 BCE is when this was built, and it's surrounded by ruins. It's near Haifa, but because of the climate, it's really important to have a community like this. They have a bunch of water. There's an incredible aqueduct that runs from 4 miles outside of the town, and like I said, it was 22 BCE is when it was built, and it's just so neat to see because the landscape is really crazy, but the aqueduct still goes down a quarter inch for every quarter mile or something. It's an amazing engineering to behold. And we moved to Jerusalem as well from there. Are you going to talk about Jerusalem?
Jerusalem, this is a picture of the Wailing Wall. It was the original wall of the original temple. People go and pray to this wall no matter what faith you are, because it's kind of like the basic of all religions. the people that you see here, with the hats, if you can really see the guys with the hats, they're Hasidic Jews, and they are really, they're there pretty much every day, all day. And they go to pray. People from all over the world, they'll write little messages in the wall. It's like if you go to visit and you have family that can't, you write a message, like a message of peace, of hope, of whatever, like a little journal, and you can put it in the wall, and nobody messes with it, nobody reads it, and it's kind of like your release to God, if you will. So that's the Wailing Wall. We're going to be staying at the Mount Zion Hotel when we're there, which is, I believe, in walking distance from there. And it's an incredible place, no matter what your faith is. It's really cool to see different people pray and all, like at different times, since it is the Holy Land. There's right down the street from the Wailing Wall, there's a massive Arab market. Anything and everything that you want, from fruits and vegetables to really neat clothing to jewels, gold, diamonds. It's really it's quite a treat to see this market. Again, with the really, really religious roots. It doesn't matter. My attitude is we all believe red, and it doesn't matter what faith you are or of no faith. You can go and visit all of the holy places in Jerusalem.
It's like I was mentioning earlier, Masada. During the Roman occupation, the Romans created, this here fortification on the top of a mountain. A group of Israeli freedom fighters came and took it over. They had enough food and water in here for 3 months worth of survival. And as you can see from the terrain, the Romans were not getting up here. So they basically just kind of hung out and waited for them. The legend with Masada is, in the Jewish religion, it's forbidden to commit suicide. So one guy went, when their food and their water ran out, one guy came and killed everybody and then killed himself, so there was only one sin. But it took them 3 months for the Romans to figure out how to get all these people out of there, and really they just kind of went away by themselves. It is one of the most popular sites in Israel just because it's really a cool hike. It's a lot of awesome history. I really like things like that. Like I said, it's the remains of a Jewish stronghold, which is right on top of the Dead Sea. We mentioned the Dead Sea before. What this is pictured, that's salt that has, basically the water has resided. The salt, there's so much salt content that you're basically floating on salt. And the picture that we didn't put on here is there's people reading newspapers. Looks like they're sitting in a little floaty chair, but they're not. There's no chair. They're just floating. It's very, very cool. It's 400 meters below sea level. It is the lowest place on Earth. And it's also known as, here comes my translation, Yam Hachlam. Yam?
Hamalach.
Thank you. My Hebrew's not so good. Which means the Sea of Salt.
And we have a lot, the famous spa area. We got spa, massages, anti-cellulite, bamboo therapy, so it's pretty much a relaxation time after all this traveling we've done to different cities. And we got pools, saunas, jacuzzis, candles, pools. Got one of the resorts here, just for relaxation after all the travel.
It's great snorkeling. It's picture as well. That's the other one.
story from the Old Testament of Moses and all of the Jews walking through the desert for 40 days and 40 nights. When they came into the Holy Land, this is what they saw. That's how they knew that they were there. This is the ruins in Petra, which is actually in Jordan, but it's like 2 steps away from Israel because the whole place is really compact. But you can imagine 40 days, 40 nights walking through the desert and you see this. The thing with this picture is you don't really get the grandeur. It's a 60-foot door. This was on huge perspectives. The people are almost twice the size of normal humans, and this was there. He was just waiting for Moses when he got there. Currency?
Yeah, so the currency is the Israeli shekel, and most places will take the US dollar. There are banks and other places which change your money. And our package isn't all inclusive, so the only money you'll be spending if you want to buy a souvenir or trinkets or maybe go somewhere else for sale on good.
In Hebrew, the word is chachka.
Travel requirements. Make sure you have a current passport. In order to get out of the U.S., including go to Canada, you have to have a current passport. Those of you who have cell phones, laptops, and like to travel, so you can download all your amazing pictures. There's Wi-Fi everywhere, even though Israel is one of the oldest places in the world. Cell phones, those of you who have them, you just got to go in your internal memory and program it to work in Israel. Things to pack. Lightweight clothing is going to be warm, a little warmer than what you have here in Denver. Sandals or beach shoes if you want to play in the ocean. I recommend anything with covering on your toes because otherwise you might get cut. Bathing suit. Evenings it does get cooler up in the mountains. Obviously sunscreen, sunglasses, hat. Hiking, so you can walk and hike. You really want comfortable shoes. You don't want high heels, although ironically you will see people climbing all these different mountains in heels. Why, I don't know. I guess they think it looks good. Small bag so you can take things. Lots of clothing, and the only reason why we say that is because most of the places that we are going into are of some type of religious faith or belief. So you want to make sure you're covered. You can wear a short sleeve shirt. They just don't really want you in a tank top and nothing really super low cut. And you want to be respectable. Women, probably anything from your fingertip down. I call it high school rules. But if you walk in high school, it's not really that. But so with that, we want to.
Nothing else really to say. I think Israel is one of the best places I've visited, and I think it's good for all sorts of different people because you have the history, you have